Once in a small village near the hills, there lived a young girl named Asha. She was only 12 years old, but she had a heart full of dreams. Asha loved to look at the sky and wonder what was beyond the clouds. She dreamed of flying in airplanes, visiting big cities, and learning about the world. But in her village, girls were not always allowed to dream big. Most people thought girls should only stay at home and help with chores. Asha's parents were kind but very poor. They could not afford to send her to a big school. Still, Asha never stopped dreaming. Every day, after finishing her chores, Asha would sit near the old banyan tree with a torn book she found in the trash. It was a science book, full of pictures and words she didn't fully understand. But she tried to read it again and again. One day, a teacher named Mr. Roy came to the village. He saw Asha reading alone and sat beside her. "Do you like science?" he asked. Asha looked up surprised. No one had ever asked her that before. She nodded slowly. Mr. Roy smiled. "Then I will teach you," he said. From that day on, every evening, Mr. Roy taught Asha under the banyan tree. He brought her books and explained things with simple words. Asha's eyes lit up every time she learned something new. She started dreaming even bigger. She wanted to become a pilot one day. People in the village laughed at her. "A girl like you, a pilot? Stop dreaming," they said. But Asha didn't listen. She held her dream close to her heart like a precious flower. Then one evening, something happened that changed everything. That evening, dark clouds gathered over the village. A strong storm was coming. The wind blew hard and trees bent low. People ran to their homes to stay safe. But Asha was still under the banyan tree, waiting for Mr. Roy. She held her books tightly, trying to keep them dry. Just then Mr. Roy arrived, soaking wet but smiling. "You came," Asha said with wide eyes. "Of course," he replied. "A storm can't stop a dream." They both sat under the tree, and he showed her a picture of a plane in the book. "This," he said, "is a fighter jet. Fast, strong, and brave, just like you can be." Asha stared at the picture with wonder. "Can someone like me really fly something like that?" she asked softly. Mr. Roy looked at her seriously. "Only if you believe in yourself more than the world doubts you." The next morning, Asha made a decision. She would study harder than ever. She woke up before the sun, helped her mother, then ran to the banyan tree with her books. She practiced reading, writing, and learning English. She even made paper planes to understand how flying worked. As days passed, something amazing began to happen. A few other children from the village saw Asha learning and got curious. Slowly, they started joining her lessons. Mr. Roy was happy. "Look at what you started, Asha," he said. "You're already a leader." But not everyone was pleased. Some villagers were angry. "She is filling the children's heads with nonsense," they said. "Girls don't need to fly planes. They need to stay at home." One day, a group of men came to Mr. Roy and warned him to stop teaching the children. "You are making them dream too much," they said. Mr. Roy stayed calm. "Dreams are not dangerous," he replied. "Fear is." Asha heard everything. She felt afraid for the first time. What if they really stopped her? What if she never got to leave the village? That night she sat alone, tears rolling down her cheeks. But as she looked up at the stars, she remembered something Mr. Roy once told her. The sky is big enough for every dream. Asha wiped her tears. She stood up and looked at the stars with new strength in her eyes. She knew now that the road ahead would be hard. But she also knew something even more important. She would never give up. From that day, Asha studied harder than ever before. She learned English from old newspapers. She solved math problems on the ground using a stick. Mr. Roy helped her apply for a scholarship exam in the nearby town. She had never left the village before, but she was ready. On the day of the exam, Asha wore her cleanest clothes, carried her books in a cloth bag, and walked miles to the town. Her heart was beating fast, but her eyes were full of hope. She entered the exam hall, looked at the paper and smiled. She had studied every topic. Weeks passed. Then one morning, a letter arrived for Mr. Roy. He ran through the village, waving it in the air. "Asha," he shouted. "You got it. You got the scholarship." The villagers were shocked. A girl from their small village had passed the exam, one of the best scores in the state. Slowly, their anger turned to pride. "Maybe she really can do something big," they whispered. With the scholarship, Asha went to a city school. At first it was hard. Everything was new and fast. But Asha never stopped trying. She worked during the day, studied at night, and kept her dream close to her heart. Years later, a shiny airplane landed at a small airstrip near her village. Children ran to see it. People gathered in amazement. And when the door opened, out stepped a young woman in a pilot's uniform. Her name tag read Captain Asha Roy. Her parents cried with joy. Mr. Roy stood tall with pride. The whole village cheered. Asha smiled at them all and said, "If a little girl from this village can fly a plane, then any child can do anything, if they dare to dream." And from that day on, no one in the village laughed at dreams again.